We should note that a fairly significant event happened. Actually, I believe it may be still happening as we speak right now in the NBA. We're recording this at 10:02 p.m. I don't believe the Nets game has ended yet.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I was wondering what you were talking about.
Well, actually,
Dirk getting his number retired.
Two events. One is Kyrie Irving came back to play basketball, which he's certainly my least favorite person in the NBA. I can't say he's like my least favorite player. I don't particularly care for him as a player as much as he is a wizard with the ball and what have you. But that's a thing that happened. And after Brooklyn, I guess I didn't watch most of the game. I was watching a little bit before, but after not really giving too much of a crap for a while, they turned the Jets on. But still, given it, what did the Knicks hold the Pacers to?
94 points.
94 points.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Nets, again, there's 31 seconds left in the fourth right now. The Pacers have scored 117 points, and that's the same Pacers team missing all their guys. So
go a step further. The Pacers, different rival. The Pacers had 101 points through 3. Mm-hmm. So I was very ready, if you weren't going to mention them, to come on here and talk about how the Knicks had no issue defending the Pacers that were shorthanded by COVID. Yeah. And no Karis LeVert, no Malcolm Brogdon, no Duarte. And here the Pacers show up with no Karis LeVert, no Duarte, no LeVert.
Lance Stevenson in uniform, though, baby. Second 30-point game of his career.
That's the crazy part. 30 points for Lance Stevenson.
Just wild.
So Kyrie's back
stuff.
And the Nets have defense issues. Shocker.
Yeah, I know, right? And then, I'm just looking at scores from tonight. Charlotte put up 140 on Detroit.
I was watching. I had 2 prize picks in that game. So it was good.
And we should mention Dirk had his jersey officially retired tonight. As I actually predicted in some written words earlier today, Dallas beat Golden State pretty handily, 99-82.
Yeah, the 82 is the most fun. I had Draymond in assists tonight, so that didn't happen because the Warriors made no shots tonight. So it was a brutal beating. But yeah, the Warriors are 82 points and Steph going 5 of 24 from the field. When we do awards next week, be a very interesting conversation. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, what do you mean when I have DeMar DeRozan as number 1 in my MVP rankings?
Someone other than Steph. That's a thing to legitimately say now, whether it's DeRozan or Durant or not, or Giannis.
I mean, or
that is a legitimate conversation that we're going to have next week.
Or the guy that I've been. I mean, his team is just not. We'll get into all of these topics as we go through the power rankings. But the guy who I've been quietly standing for, Nikola Jokic, but the team is just not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, it's it's getting funky around here. So as we have done the first bonus Patreon episode every month, we're gonna do our tiers, power ranking 1 to 30, but we're breaking into tiers. Let me count how many. You want to guess how many tiers I have?
I'll say there's no way you did more than 5.
I did more than 5.
How? The middle is just one giant.
So
thing.
I cut the middle in half.
Okay.
And I separated it out from what I deem to be the upper crust of the middle, and then what's the opposite of the upper crust? The sediment that goes to the bottom.
So not the top part of the crust, but the bottom part. It's just the other part of the crust.
The analogy is just crumbled into. That's what's at the bottom.
It's crumbs, is what
it's crumbs. That's what it is. All right. So you want to start at the top?
Yes.
All right. I don't think I actually had a. What?
Hold on. We should also say to those that have been paying attention, where I usually reference back to.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to start fresh in 2022. This being the first one that we're almost exactly halfway through the season. So I know ballpark where John had all of these teams, but full behind the scenes, I cannot find where I put the old list. I didn't plan time to go back and listen to the old episode because I thought the old list was ready and available. So we're starting fresh with John's power rankings from 1 to 30.
And since we are starting fresh, I just want to repeat, I have no set methodology that I go by when I rank these teams. I try to consider 2 things somewhat equally, which is 1, where the team is based on how they have played this year, because I think it would be boring to just do a ranking of like where do we factor these teams in as championship contenders from this day forward. I think there has to be some consideration given to past performance this season. That said, I also am giving some consideration to potential and where I feel like based on what a team has already showed, like where we can talk about them moving forward. Even as I say that, I don't like, there are some of these that I'll talk about them as I get to them, but can you guess who my number one team is in my top tier?
So this is going to go to where I think I know you enough and well enough that I know what you use for your criteria. And are you brave enough to put the Utah Jazz as number one?
I am.
Okay.
And I gave consideration to only one other team to put at number one. I don't have a tier of only two, though. I do have 4 teams in my top tier. Although, what was the score again in the Warriors game today? They put up how many points? 82 points?
82. Yes.
Yeah. Against Dallas, who's like, I mean, all due respect to, did Frankie, hold on. Now I'm really fascinated. Did Frankie get minutes in this game? That's the question. That's why Golden State only scored 82 points, because Frank Ntilikina got 1 minute.
Locked up Steph Curry. There you go.
For that 1 minute. Reggie Bullock, though, 27 minutes.
There you go. That's who locked up Steph Curry.
There you go. That's the guy. Yeah, anyway, so I'm already getting off track. Okay, so number one team is the Jazz. I feel really comfortable about putting the Jazz there because I think not only have they been the best team in the league, they have been the best team in the league. They're going to get 2 All-Stars in Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert pretty easily, I'm sure. And they've especially since like some uneven basketball early on, they've been the most consistent team. And even me saying they've been the most consistent team, like that's what kind of year we're having. Like there are nights you turn on a Jazz broadcast and you'll hear the people that cover the team talk about how like, oh, the Jazz are letting another team get back in the game yet again because they're relaxing. It's like no team is perfect this year. There is no 15-16 Warriors or anything close to that. Can you guess the team that I thought about putting number one?
If it's not Golden State, you went with record and went with
It's not
Phoenix.
Golden State. It's not Phoenix either.
Are you accounting for potential and you put Milwaukee?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is, again, where this is not an exact science for me, but I do believe if you factor in how much the Bucks they've missed players throughout this season, how good they've been of late. And I say that knowing they lost to the Pistons a couple games ago. Again, this is 2021-22 season. Anything goes. No team is infallible. I do think the Bucks, based on what they've shown so far, and more importantly, what I think their potential is. And if I had to pick a favorite right now, I think I would pick Milwaukee, but I would give some consideration to Utah.
All fair. There is another team that has played just as good as Utah in the last, let's say 15 games that I'm curious where you put them on this list.
That has played.
If you're accounting for potential and you're accounting for like what this season has meant and what could come from the rest of the season, I'm curious, where this list is going to go.
I mean, is it? I have Phoenix third.
Okay, so your 2 is Milwaukee.
My 2 is Milwaukee. My 3 is Phoenix.
Dang,
and out of respect for Clay, I'm doing this. This is me doing you a solid, Andrew.
Gee, thanks. Not the best record in the NBA Warriors. The fact that a guy that hasn't played in 2.5 years is coming back.
All right. So the Warriors over their last 15 games, 6th best net rating in the league, 11-4 record. Actually, and sorry, that's not even accurate because I don't think that factors in tonight's result yet. But they've been a little bit more inconsistent. To me, they're not infallible anymore. You disagree, obviously.
The whole is still, I mean, yes, if you're going by recently, there are some nicks in the armor, but they still have a net rating, again, not accounting for tonight, that is second to Utah by 0.1 at time of recording. Now, again, they scored 82 points tonight. That's going to go down, which puts them at second and still gives them the best record in the league at 29-8.
Okay.
To quote Bill Parcells,
So you thought I should have it sounds like you think I should flip Golden State and Phoenix.
No. The Milwaukee part is the thing that I'm a little puzzled by. I would have Milwaukee.
I think Milwaukee is a fully healthy. I think Milwaukee is a team to beat and fully healthy. I still have questions about Clay. And I still have questions about the Golden State team. We talked about this in the first one of these episodes we did about how Golden State's schedule was set up for them to have success. And guess what? They had success.
Which is why, like, a month from now, if they're 35-15, like they have a 500 month, that'd be different. They still only lost 8 times this year.
I understand that. I've been paying close attention to them, and they still have nights where when the offense gets going, like, you're not going to beat them because the defense is so reliable. They held Dallas under 100 points tonight, but yeah. So I have them fourth. Okay, but that's the top tier. Now,
wow. So the tier ends there.
The tier ends there, and the first team that I have. Let's see if we could call it a final yet. Yes, we could call it a final. The Nets ended up winning this game by 8 points. Just miscovering the spread by a half point. So I have the Nets fifth. I don't have them in the top tier, which is a little bit odd for me to say because I think, again, gun to my head right now, if I have Milwaukee as the championship favorites, I could say the words. I have Utah second and the Nets third. I don't know if I believe them. I feel like for me to have the Nets anything worse than second, especially now that Kyrie's coming back and playing road games, and he played tonight, he looked good tonight. But there has just been, like, I can't ignore how not great they've been this year. They really have not been great. They're the 9th best team in net rating again before tonight's games. 23-12. Like, they're not even winning well, I guess after tonight, yeah, they will have won two games for every one loss, which is like, okay, that's fine.
There's a team I have ahead of them that you haven't said yet, but again, potential-wise, Durant's also. If you're factoring in playoff potential, then the Kevin Durant of it all changes things. Although the Kyrie Irving of it all means that if the Nets have home court in a series, that they're going to be shorthanded before the 7 games. I don't think they're going to have home court, and that's because I think the team that you think should be ahead of the Nets, I think has a real shot to get the number 1, and that's Chicago, and they're my number 6. Chicago's 12-3 in the last 15 games. That's the same record as the Utah Jazz.